Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Leighton Jr. back again. So all aboard for the next video, and for this video I'm going to be fitting this small thin bass enhanced speaker bought from Roden Mails. I know you think I'm plugging him to death, but I'm not. It's just that that's where Alan prefers to get his speakers from. So I'm only going to say where I bought them from. So anyway, this is going to be fitted into this engine, and what I'll do is in a moment I'll just give you a quick description of the engine, and then I'll show you why I bought this type of speaker for this engine. So this engine itself is a DB Class V200, and it's also known as the Class 220, and the engine itself was first brought into production series as a diesel hydraulic express locomotive of the German Deutsche Bundesbahn. I think that's what it says. So if you, to our German subscribers, please don't blame me for saying it wrong. And as AM4/4 of the SBB CFF FFS in Switzerland. 5 prototypes of the V200 were built by Krauss Maffei in 1953 and 54. Full production began in 1956, with 61 engines being built by Krauss Maffei and 20 by MAK. These five V200 prototypes were put through a very extensive testing phase, and the aim of that was to ensure the production locomotives would be as reliable as the technology and maintenance standards of the 1950s allowed. In 1955, one locomotive travelled under its own power through Yugoslavia, Greece, Turkey, partly as a test and partly to demonstrate the locomotive's full capability to potential customers in those countries. So there you go. So there's a little bit of history on the engine for you. I hope I didn't bore you to death or take too much of your time up. So I hope you found that quite interesting. So this engine, what I must say is this has got to be one of the easiest and nicest engines I've worked with. It is literally, to get it apart, all I had to do was 2 screws in the top here, and the whole top comes off. And it's absolutely brilliant. It's I wish all engines were like that, but unfortunately, not everything's built the same. As you can see, the circuit board is there. Now I've already fitted the chip into this one, which, was an 8-pin Loxon version 5 decoder. Now this engine is a bit like a kit car. You can take bits of it apart. You'll have to squeeze the fingers. So this bit comes off, and basically what it is there's me 2 speaker wires here, which I'm going to show in a minute, and I'm going to follow the advice of, I forget who left the comment, but he said the easiest way he finds to do speakers is to twist the wires together. And to be honest, you do have actually quite a good point there. I should have been doing that from the beginning, twisting the wires together, instead of trying to be a show-off and making life harder for myself. So for this engine specifically, there's no room in the top here for a speaker. Only mainly the little tiny sugar cube speakers. The real small ones, if I can find the one I took out of it, I'll show you, which I cannot. Well, anyway, so yeah, the sugar cube speaker, and they are tiny, and, I suppose they're okay, but I prefer to fit my own speakers in, and Alan prefers me to put different speakers in. If I can get a bass enhanced speaker that will fit into an engine, he prefers me to put them in if I can get them. So the speaker compartment on this engine is quite clever. It's underneath. Now, this is what I like about Rocco engines. They are they do make some quite good detail in their engines. And the speaker compartment is actually inside here. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly unscrew it. You bear with me while I try and see what I'm doing. Right, there we go. So that's just one little small screw there. One little small screw here. Oh, take that out. And then just lift this out. which came out really, really easy when I first did it. There you go, and it comes off, and you've got all this room here for a speaker to fit in. Now, I could gone for a slightly bigger speaker, but I thought, well, I may as well just like, you know, go for one that I think is gonna fit. And to me, I mean, that looks pretty all right in there, and you know, it's gonna give a good sound out of it, so why not? And you know, it's a bass enhanced speaker, so as you can see, you know, fits in there perfectly. As I said, I could have gone for bigger, but you know, I was like thinking, well, maybe get a smaller one just in case it gets too big and it doesn't fit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread the speaker wire up through here, and fingers crossed, Inspector Gadget here, it will come out on the top chassis up here somewhere, so I can solder the wires on. So fingers crossed. Now the good thing about this engine is it's like a kit car. You can take bits off it, like this bit here slides out like that, then that bit there slides out. If you hang on with me a minute, here's me saying this bit here slides out and then it doesn't move. There you go, that bit there slides out like that, and then there's my speaker wire coming through there. So what I'll do is I'll just use these grips, grip a hold of it and pull it through to where I want it. There we go. And then I can line it up with the two speaker wires that I've got there. Now, I did want to mention these clippers that I bought for Alan in another video, and I'd first seen them on Charlie Chadwick, and he said they are like to die for, and he has a point. They are brilliant. They are the best cutters I've ever used, and they're these cutters, and they are brilliant. You know, they'll cut any wire, thin, like thick, you name it. You just, the front here to the front, the further forward you bring it, the smaller the wire is. Obviously you can see the minus and the plus there. So obviously, as I said, just get your speaker wire, stick it in, and then obviously you measure how much you want to cut off and just do that. And hopefully I've done it right this time, which I haven't. I do apologize. Right, I'll try that one again. So yeah, put your speaker wire into there, then there you go. Then that should have cut that time. No, it didn't. I'll try again. I do apologize, guys. This did work for me the first time when I did it. But obviously, as you know, when you go onto camera, this is when things, you know, usually tend to go wrong for you. So there you go, I got it that time. I had to just press down a little bit harder. Now, as you can see, it did a perfect cut. Now, they do work. You've just got to remember, as I forgot there, you have to apply a little bit of pressure to them to get them to cut properly. Otherwise, you don't cut properly and you end up sitting there going, hang on a minute, why isn't that cutting? So, like that. And go back there, and as you can see, I've got a cut there. Actually, you need to make that slightly longer. So, let's put that back in there. Oh, too short again. Do it there. Don't ever get that. Get your little finger, and then you can just pull the wire off. And there you go, and there's my two wires. Now, as somebody had suggested to me, which I should have listened, I'm going to twist my wires together. So, first off, I'm going to twist that wire to that one. So you'll have to excuse fingers for the moment until I get these wires twisted around each other. So if you bear with me for a moment, excuse my fingers. Right, so I'm going to twist that wire around there to make life a lot easier for me. Oh, well, I would if I could get it to twist around. See, this is where I need Alan, but Alan isn't really here at the minute, so... But I'll have to do it the normal way that I do it, or I don't want to be sitting here all night trying to do something and it's not going to work for me. So the first thing I need to really do is, I've got some here, I had some before, there it is. Right, so I've got some I showed you the other day, and it's the shrink for the wire so the wires don't touch. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slide that down the wire. That I'm going to do. So just slide it down this wire here. And then that's the first wire that I'm going to do. Then I'm going to put it in my helping hands. Stick it in there. Then what I'm going to do is get the next wire that I'm going to join it to. So I'll do the red one first. So excuse my hands for a moment. So obviously I'm going to stick that wire into there. And the helping hands is going to work. And then obviously what I'll do is I'll get my soldering iron, which is switched on. And I will melt a bit of solder onto the end of the soldering iron and I will join the wires. So if you bear with me 2 seconds. Right, just getting a bit of solder onto the end of my soldering iron. So then I'm going to get my wire. I'll have to hold it together because obviously, as I said, I have terrible arthritis in my fingers. And I find it very difficult to grip. And that's basically why I can't do that. So as you see, I've got that wire soldered to that one. There's a pretty good join there. Obviously, take it off. Take that one off. Then I'm going to slide the shrink up to here. Obviously, this will stop the wires from touching. Then basically get the lighter, wherever I put that. So excuse my fingers for a moment. Right, so I'll get my lighter. And then I'll shrink the wire on and job done. So that's the first wire done. Then again, the next wire, which will be my black wire. So again, do the same again. Gonna get my speaker wire into the crocodile helping hands. Then get the other wire into the other helping hands. And before I do that, I'm just going to quickly get a piece of the wire, shrink. I haven't got a bit there, but that's all right. I've got plenty in here. So if you bear with me for a moment, please. So I'm just going to cut a bit of wire shrink or shrink wire, whatever it's called. So cut a bit of shrink wire. So wire shrink, not shrink wire. Shrink wire, what am I going on about? There's a new thing on town called shrink wire. Try it out yourself. Sounds a bit silly, actually. Sorry, right. So, excuse fingers a minute. Obviously, slide down. Slide down. I think I cut a bit too much there, but, you know, you can have too much, you can have too little, you know. So, too much is better than too little, eh? So, then I'm going to grab you and helping hands. So excuse fingers for a moment, please. Then again, I am going to get my soldering iron, put a bit of solder onto the end of it. When I get this wire in here, that is. Right, there we go. That will do quite fine for me. Then again, same again. Get a bit of solder onto the end of the wire. Onto the end of me soldering iron, sorry, not wire. Right, that'll do nicely. Then I'm just going to gently solder these wires together. Oh, don't want a big bit of solder sticking up or I'll not be able to get the shrink on it. And here you go. And I've got a nice tight solder there, which is what I wanted. Then obviously just bring the shrink up, pull it over the bit of solder when you can get it over, that is. So, oh, that might be too big, maybe. I think I've done it a little bit too big on that one. Might have to redo it. Let's have a look. Oh, no, that's fine. So pull it over. Oh, yeah, pull it over, but don't pull it right over and then pull it again. Right, so there you go. So as you can see, I've done that one there. Then next thing, do that. Shrink the wire on and job done. Now, I have a ton of wire here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that up and I'm going to tidy this wire up somehow. So excuse my hands for a moment, please. So I shall tuck this wire here so it is out of the way. So put the speaker wire there. And then I'll get a bit of white tack. I think I've got white tack here today. So we'll get some white tack. And don't forget the white tack, guys. Black tack, white tack. You only need a tiny little bit, because I mean, I've done this, I said in my previous video, I've done it and I've tried to pull a wire out and I've ended up pulling the wire off completely and ended up having to resolder it. So when you use black tack, white tack, whatever you're going to use, always remember you only need a little tiny bit. You don't need like enough to hold the Queen Mary in place. You only need a tiny little bit, and that's all you need. And there you go. So as you can see, that's nicely tidily soldered there. So what I'll do is I'm now going to turn it over, and I'm going to put the speaker into place, and I'm going to put all these like kit components back in, so to speak. So before I do that, I think what I'll do is I'll put the kit components back into place first. And that's what I like about this engine. You can like take the sight and that off it, and it's really, really good. I quite like it. I know it's pretty like silly, but you know, I mean, you can do that, you know, and take like the side bits off, and like here, you know, you can slide that bit in like off, and this bit comes off and on, you know, so you can like tuck your wires into the side here without them being in the way of anything, you know, and sticking here and sticking there. And, you know, it actually makes it quite a useful, you know, right thing for when you're doing the engine, you know, rather than having like you know, just the top. It's like got like a little edge, so to speak, where you can like, you know, tuck all your wires out the way and, you know, keep everything nice and tidy. And then so slide the last bit in there, and as you can see, that's nice and tidy. That one there isn't on properly, but it is now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over, and I do have quite a bit of wire left. So what I shall do is I shall tuck that into there. Excuse my fingers for a moment, please. And then I'm going to white tack, the speaker into place, maybe there. Know what you guys think? Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. So I'm going to get myself a bit of white tack. Again, as I said, you don't need a lot of white tack or black tack. It does stick real good, you know, and you'll find that you only need a tiny, tiny little bit, and I mean a tiny little bit. But you can use like a bit of a bigger double of it when you're doing like, you know, putting your speakers down, as long as you're not putting it on top of a bunch of wires when you're doing it, you know, and then you're laughing. So there you go. So as you can see, there's the speaker fitted. And now I'm going to just put that flap back on again. So easy peasy. Just goes like that. Oh, yeah, help if I put it the right way, huh? Right. So easy peasy. Put that there. You know what it is? When things come off really easy, and then when you go to put them back on, like, no, I'm not going back on. Right, get me trusty magnetic screwdriver. And there's my first screw there. And let's get the screw back together. So screws hands for the moment. There we go. So that's that in there nice and securely. Then the next screw, sorry. Put that into there. And that's in there nice and securely. So that's basically the speaker fitted. Now the next part of the top bit, which I quite like, is, you know, to hold everything in place. As you can see, it is actually quite tidy. There's like a metal thing, and it just keeps everything in place, and, you know, like stops roving wires coming out and things like that. And that's the thing I quite like about this engine. As I said, you know, it's good. It's like a kit component. You know, you have all these parts, you know, that slide into place, and, you know, as you can see there, that slides into there, and then that like kind of all holds it all together, and then you get your screws, and you screw it all down, and job done, you know. It's all nice and tidy. So just bear with me, I'll just get this, and you'll have to excuse me fingers a minute, because some of these, they'll go in easy and sometimes they're a bit difficult to get in. than this beating what is difficult. And there you go. And then that's held into place quite nicely. And then all I do is get one of the screws that was holding it into place. Get me trusty magnetic screwdriver, which I thought, oh, sorry, I'm not wrecking the police on this. And then basically all you do is just get your screwdriver and these side screws here, screw it down, and that holds that into place. There you go. And as you can see, your wiring, your chip is and everything is quite nicely tucked away underneath the metal shroud and inside the plastic housing, and you know, it just keeps it all tidy and, you know, stops all the wires from hanging out. You know, sometimes when you do an engine, you know, I don't know if you've done it. I mean, I'd admit it, I've done it, you know what I mean. I'm quite used to doing engines by now, but when I first started, I always used to have a habit of catching the speaker wires into the side of the engine, or one of the wires out of the chip on the side, you know, the housing of the engine. And yeah, I'd slide it down and I'm like, oh no, I've caught the wire. And you know, and then you've got to re-solder it, and you know, you're like, oh no, please. So anyway, so there you go. So that's that engine basically nearly done. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the top back on it again, which with this engine, as I said, being one of DB, just, oh, I might have that the wrong way actually. No, sorry, you hang on with me a minute. Right, there we go. And then I'll quickly turn it over. Sorry about the hands. And then that's it, that's that engine done. And then what I'll do is I'll just quickly come off camera there in a minute and I'll screw it back together. So I hope you enjoyed my video. What I'll do is I'm going to go and blow the sound to it on the computer next door. So I'll quickly do a video there showing you how to blow the sound again with the lock programmer, and then I'll come back and I'll go through the sound functions. So bye for now, and speak to you in a minute. Ta-ra. Hello everybody and welcome back to Leighton Jr. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow the sound to the V200 engine. So again, this is a Locksound version 5 chip. So I'm going to click on there. I'm going to click on the Locksound European sound files. Then I'm going to search the V200 in here, press enter, and then obviously as you can see it's either this one here or this one there. So it's going to be this one, the European sound file, because it has the hi-fi surround sound on it, which is basically, you know, the sound that you want to have if you're using the Locksound version 5 chips. You'll get the best like sound out of your engine by doing that. So all I'm going to do is just click on download the sound file, except that if it blows up it's on my own fault. And just a quick look there, if you see, you can play a demo video if you want to have a look and hear what it sounds like. Then obviously there's all the functions there: front light, F2 air horn, F3 station announcement, F4 station announcement, F5 heavy load, F6 acceleration brake, F7 curve squeal, F9 compressed air let off, F10 conductor signal, F11 couple of clanks. So it does have quite a few. It's got 31 altogether. So obviously it does have quite a few functions to it. Then obviously, as you know, if you do have a lock program or you're just buying one, it's easy to write the sounds. Once you've opened and downloaded the file, it'll open automatically in the lock program software. And then all you do is just write decoder data, then click on next, and basically it'll just write the chip for you. And I'm going to leave you here because it takes about 30 minutes altogether for the chip to be blown with the sound. So what I'll do is I'll come back again when I've gone back onto the layout next door, and then I'll go through some of the sound functions with Alan. So I'll speak to you guys in a minute. Ta-ra. Hello everyone and welcome back to Leighton Junction Junior. So this is the end of my video on the third part on the V200 engine, or the 220 as it was called, which is a really nice engine. I'm like was really happy working on it because these engines are so easy to work on, and as I'd already said, they're like a kit car. They all come apart on the inside and all the plastic sides slide out to make life easier for you. I mean, the only thing that I don't like about it is there's not a lot of room in it. So, you know, you're not really going to fit a big speaker in it. You'll fit a sugar cube speaker in the top, but mostly in the bottom of the engine there's a speaker compartment. Now, I decided to go for a long sugar cube speaker from Roden Mails, which seems to have, well, it was actually too small, but you know, it's a case of measuring and then going back. But it goes in there and it sounds not bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish the video off by going through a few of the functions on the engine itself, just so you can hear what these small sugar cube speakers sound like. So F2 is the air horn, which actually that's pretty loud. Again, the neighbours are really going to love me. Right, F7, which is function 7, is a curved squeal, which you will hear when I let it go around the layout. F9 or function 9 is the compressed air let off. There you go, as that doesn't sound actually that bad, so I'm quite happy with that speaker. F11 is the coupler clank. F16, if I can find it, is open close cab door. So there you see, I hope that was a little bit of a demonstration for you. If you like, you know, stuck for a speaker to buy for a small engine and you know you haven't got much space, then I can recommend that speaker. It's pretty decent, to be honest. I didn't think it was going to be up to much, but it's alright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the engine up. So obviously, first thing first, obviously the lights. Obviously with all engines, function 1 is sound on off. So I'm going to do the sound of the engine starting up. And as you can hear there, that sounds pretty decent actually, considering, you know, it's only a really small speaker. You know, it's a really small, thin sugar cube speaker. So I'm actually quite happy with that. It's a lot better than what I thought it was going to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it go around the layout, and then you'll be able to hear the curve squeal, and then I'll stop it here, and you'll be able to hear the brake squeal and all on it when it comes to a halt. So I'm going to let it go off now, and around it will go. So just got to help yourself there. Neighbours are going to hate me, but who cares? So as I said, I'm going to bring it round here. I'm going to bring it to a stop, and then you'll be able to hear the brake squeal and hear what the brake squeal sounds like on it. So just bring it up, bring it a little bit further forward so we get to the camera, and stop. And there you go. And as you can see and hear, that is a pretty nice engine, and it sounds absolutely beautiful. So I really do hope you enjoyed my video. Thank you for tuning in as per usual. I hope you're all safe and well. Alan says hello as well, by the way, he's sitting in the background. So I shall see you guys in my next video, and bye for now.